Guys, this is Javi again. This is part 2 of my V-Haul modification here. This bolt here, remember? I'm about to show you how to mark the carpet out here. I got the carpet laid out. I'm about to mark it. Here's the front casting deck here. And I'm going to put it on the carpet and mark it out. And then I'll come back. Here we go. I got the front part on the carpet here. You want like a 6-inch overhang here. It's your lowest point. It's about 8. I should slide it down a little bit. And then you just get like a permanent marker. And then you just mark it out. So I'll come back with my next step. Alright, so I have my permanent marker. And I got my tape measure here. What I'm just going to do, the bottom side's already at 6 inches. So I'm just going to go around with the tape measure here at 6 inches, and then I'm going to trace it with the marker. Pretty much what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the tape measure flush against this board here, and then I'm going to trace it 6 inches all the way around, and that would have my outline for my carpet. So there goes the outline for my carpet. It's roughly about 6 inches away. It's okay if you get off track a little bit, because it's underneath. You're not going to see it here. So I have the outline mapped out for my front casting deck. That's what that is. This is the bottom of it. You're not going to see this wood here. This is just for support for the bottom. If someone needs to stand on it, it'll be nice and sturdy and they won't fall through the floor or fall over. Laugh out loud. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to cut the carpet where my outline is, and then I'll be back. Alright, there's the outline all cut out. Pretty good job here. It's important, if you're not using marine grade, to make sure that you waterproof the plywood, because it takes a lot of time marking this out to get it just right. I'm a little out of breath here, sorry. You see, it's got a nice little coat on top of it of the resin. You don't need the tissue to put on it. This will be just fine here. So what I'm gonna do now, let me go back over here. I'm gonna use this stuff, this indoor outdoor carpet adhesive here. There's my old motor that was on the boat when I bought it. It's only a 6-horse Chrysler. I'm waiting on the parts for the carburetor. I'm rebuilding the carburetor because it was in the barn and some mice got into it, made a bedding, and fucking, excuse my language, everything got all stuck in there. So I cleaned it out pretty good here. It's pretty clean motor. They chewed away at the spark plug here, and they clogged everything up here. So I had to loosen up the recoil, and the carburetor was completely stuck. So it's important. Let's get back to the carpet here. We want to use this stuff. It's waterproof. It's only like $13 for this. And then you want a trowel. This trowel is pretty beat up. It's seen this years. It's pretty rusty. But it's good to have a trowel with these little teeth on it. You see the teeth? That way when you apply it on there, it'll leave lines. And then the carpet would stick to that. There. So I'm going to clean this trowel up a little bit, get the rust off so it goes on pretty smooth. And then I'll get back. Like I said, this is a pretty rusty trowel, but it'll do. As long as it's got teeth, it's pretty smooth. It'll go on pretty good. Okay. So I'm gonna flip this over, and then I'm gonna put the indoor outdoor adhesive on the bottom side here. underneath here, and then I'll set it on the carpet. I'll flip this over. I'll make sure that the carpet is nice and flat the way everyone wants it, and then I'll staple it. Make sure it's real tight. So I'm just gonna go put the adhesive on the board on the bottom side, and then I'll be back. It's also important to make sure that your board is nice and flush here, that there's no bubbles. Just rub your hand across it, okay? If you feel bubbles, just maybe grab like a knife or a cutting knife or something and just chop it down so you don't trip over it in the future. Okay, so I'm just rubbing my hand on here. Making sure. Let me grab my putty knife. I like to have a good description of what I'm doing, because a lot of the videos that I've seen, there's not really much of a description or stuff you should look for while you're doing this stuff. They just show you how to do it. So I'm just going over with a putty knife here, just getting the big stuff here so I don't trip over it, or no one trips over it, because this carpet is pretty it's pretty thin, so you'll feel it on your feet, especially if you're barefoot. You'll feel it, and I don't want that. I want some I'm kind of a perfectionist, so I like to do everything so I don't have to come back and do it in the future. Just to get the big stuff off. You can sand it down, but I don't really need to. I want a thick coat on this. Thick coat so no water would get to it. The main reason why I use the fiberglass resin is just for the screws here where the water gets in. So all of these screws are sealed. They're all sealed so the water doesn't get through and it doesn't seep through, you know, and rot out the wood. Again, this is just a pressure treated wood, so it's pretty smooth. It's pretty good. It leaves a nice little shine to it too. I was gonna use this Thompson waterproof sealer, but it takes 24 hours to dry. And then if you want to put anything on there, you gotta wait. On top of the waterproof stuff, you have to wait a lot of days for it to dry. So I just went with the fiberglass. It dries about 2 hours. You can sand it. So it should be good to put the adhesive on there.